red, blue, purple light. Friends, red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts, red, blue, purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts. You can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious, Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah. We gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts. Peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light to the family. Peace, love and light to the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours, peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, 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 welcome to Sacrilegious Sundays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the Facts remix given to you by the 44 Tops. Clap it up for the 44 Tops. All right. Let me know how we sound on the audio. Let me know how we sound on the audio before we continue. You said right on time, just finished reading. That's what's up. That's what's up. Peace, love, and light to everybody in the building. Happy Sunday to everyone. I said to myself, I was beating myself up. I said, you know what? I can't leave them this whole strong and without an episode or something. You feel me? So here I go. Because I'm literally, I promise you, like, I got books opened up. I've been in a lab working on this this end of the year extravaganza, you know what I mean? And also putting together a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So, you know, the Mondem is busy, but it's a lot of stuff that we need to, you know, a lot of information. It's information overload. Today's episode, we are going to begin to unpack the year in review. All right. So tonight's episode is the inaugural event. Let the countdowns begin. They say it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. And we're going to finish this race, what we call the 2024 fiscal year. I don't need anybody to give me an inbox about how it starts in spring. All I say is when spring comes, show up to some type of ceremony. So you really, so you can stand on that. You feel me? But right now, the end of the fiscal year is what we showing up for. And when you start reflecting, when you reflect on 2024, it can really overwhelm you. That's the best word that I can say. Thank you, Celesta Codes, with the super chat. You know what I'm talking about? Salute to you with the super chat. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We will talk about the lady on the train. Let's do the roll call. Let me not get in front of myself. Let's do the roll call, and then we'll do all of the specifics and everything, and get this thing started. You feel me? The Jason months was a roller coaster. Woo, man! Say that again. The Jason months was a roller coaster. You ain't never lie. God damn it. It was a doozy. Toronto in the building. Shout out to Toronto. Shout out to the Bay Area. Shout out to San Jose. Shout out to Tampa. Oklahoma City. Stand up. Arizona in the building. You dig? Connecticut is in the building. Shout out to Chicago in the building. Mississippi. House in the Hills, Washington, D.C. We have a Washington, D.C. in the building. Virginia in the building. We got Massachusetts in the building. The Lou in the building. Naptown in the building. Charlotte in the building. All right. Virginia in the building. Brooklyn. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. We got the land of oak in the building. Tucson, Arizona. That's two sons. All right. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Merritt Island, Florida. Shout out to everybody that pulled up for the last episode with Ross Ben. Let me ask you this. And I don't know, because like I said, I'm buried in my research. I can't even pay attention to shit. Ever since that show, I haven't really heard too much about the quote unquote UFOs and the drones. That thing died out like that. Is it just me? You feel me? Or did people just move on? St. Louis in the building. Shout out to St. Louis. Belize is in the building. Leo Gang said, I don't have to work in the AM so I could catch this live. Yes, this is one of those sacrilegious Sundays on a late night. I was contemplating doing an early sacrilegious, but I was like, nah, I want to get sacrilegious. We're going to do this at night. You know what I'm talking about? We're going to do this underneath the moon, baby. You feel me? BK in the building. The aliens in Miami, no talk on that no more. They don't even talk about that no more. You know what I'm talking about? They don't even speak on that. That ain't come up in nobody's year in review. And I've been watching a few of them. That hasn't showed up in anyone's year of review yet. The aliens in Miami. And I would think that would be newsworthy. Do you think that was supposed to break the internet? I mean, let's think about the ramifications of it. 10 feet tall. Like, that's more newsworthy than the goddamn UFOs over New Jersey bars, right? That's more newsworthy than them goddamn ships over New Jersey, because niggas in the mall, that's crossing a line. Like, that's literally, you know what I'm saying? And somebody's, you all up in our business now. You in the mall. When you in the spaceship over Jersey, I'm on my little Keith, I'm on my Chief Keef shit. We we riding through Jersey. We ain't rocking with Jersey like that. If you're not rocking with Jersey, you don't care about that. But when they're in the mall, that means chances are a nigga in everywhere around the world going to get some sneakers has the opportunity to run into a 10-foot tall alien. A 10-foot tall alien. Y'all talk about them damn SUV size drones, my nigga. A 10-foot tall alien. I don't think you ready for that. You feel me? You need more people. I don't think y'all built for that right now. So that story didn't even grow no legs. It skipped the gym on leg day. It didn't grow any legs. It didn't go nowhere. This shit right here about New Jersey with the goddamn drones, that's gonna be something of forgotten memory, based off of what the hell is coming down the pipeline that they about to do to make you forget about all of that tomfoolery that they was playing with you. They out here playing with us, and I don't like that for us. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole. You feel me? We're gonna go down a goddamn rabbit hole. One of the most important things to have is memory. You feel me? If anybody shares the disgust that I have with iPhone, the way that they started flipping and whatnot on memory and reminding you that, goddamn it, if you don't clear out all of the clutter and the BS, your computer is not going to be computing. You feel me? Your computer won't be computing and whatnot. In order to have some clear and clean memory, you got to get the clutter out. We got too much goddamn clutter, you know? Too much distractions, too much BS and whatnot. You feel me? Too much things that have been proven and not be true, and we still hold on to that shit. What they call pack rats. You know what I'm talking about? We have to start getting rid of the clutter, clearing up our hard drive in order so it can function the right way and we can have clear memories. Do you think that was a psyops with the Miami alien thing? Yo, this is my thing. If it was real, which it could have been, whoever the cleanup crew that was assigned to that situation, they went down there with all of the mops and brooms at their disposal and cleaned that shit the fuck up and made sure that that story got super buried, and anybody else that wanted to talk about it got buried with the story, because that's how some of those things take place. They put the fire out before it turns into a wildfire, right? And they don't have a problem with the Wackington. You feel me? You know what the Wackington is? The Wackington is they will take all measures and routes to make sure that you don't talk and get the motherfucking news out there. And then they set the algorithm up on the socials and they get to scrubbing on and you know, on all of those major socials. Don't think they don't know what they are. So they on TikTok scrubbing shit, YouTube scrubbing shit, IG, Facebook, and Tinder, you know? So yeah, basically the real deal Men in Black. You feel me? They could have switched hit the switch on the timeline and niggas just forget about shit, bro. They do. They just forget about things. And we owe it to ourselves to get in the time machine and go back in time and just review shit. Because a lot of shit took place this year. This year goes down in history as one of those years. You feel me? And it ain't even over yet. It ain't over yet. We got 9 days left. And you know that a lot of shit can happen in 9 days. Hold on to your britches. This season finale, like I said, this one is a big one. You feel me? This season finale for this season right here. Oh no, it's gonna be a bang. You feel me? This thing is gonna be loaded. Very thankful for this year. This year wasn't nice to anyone that I know. You understand? This year, it wears a shiesty mask and a puffy coat in the summertime. This year is a YN nigga. Bombs. Yeah, that's what this year is. This year is one of the YN crash outs. You feel me? That's the type of chaos energy that 2024 represents. Unpredictable. Tight pants and everything. Unpredictable. You don't know if it's gonna pop off and what, you know what I mean? Just super unpredictable. Chaos magic. It go from 0 to 160 seconds. That's what this year was about. This year, musically speaking, goes down as maybe the most important year in music, bar none. And for everybody in the audience, the KTLians who are able to take that ride with us as we went through that year and music changed forever, I want to just say it's been a hell of a ride. We started this year out. We made a declaration that the music has to change. We did it in the form of a musical project by the name of the 48 Pillars of Power. Pull that up. That was me and Blue Pill's contribution to the arts, right? In the form of music, right? Because we picked different mediums to express ourselves. So this expression was done through the music. February is put out at 420 and whatnot, right? On 420 is when it was released. We were like, look, the music got to change. We need to change the conversation. We not saying to hit us with the double entendre. We not saying, that we need the Panani raps back and whatnot, the vegan raps. We don't need the slutty vegan raps. Yeah, we don't need the vegan raps. We need the slutty vegan raps. That's what they was asking for. They wanted the slutty vegan rap. You know what I'm talking about? Similar to what they wound up getting a little bit of months later, and they still getting it right now. Slutty vegan rap. That's what Kendrick represents. He's a slutty vegan. You know what I'm talking about? He not just a straight up vegan on you niggas. He's not giving you the earthiest of the earth has to offer. He's giving you some street knowledge. You know what I'm talking about? He took it back to the streets this year. But I've always said I'm from the soil. I'm from the mycelium network. You know what I'm talking about? I'm from the undergirdings and the underbellies, the place where things grow. I'm from that darkness. You dig what I'm saying? So everything that comes from that darkness and everything that represents that frequency, I identify with it, and I'm able to, quote unquote, describe it in detail because that's where I come from. You know what I mean? And this year, this was a very scorpionic year. A lot of underworld, undergirding, dark shit, right? Saturnian, scorpionic affairs on all levels, in all pockets, out of darkness and in all pockets. Now, also, I want you to keep in mind, I want you to go back in time, and I want you to keep in mind that we are going through a 10-year cycle because time is centrifugal, meaning that the times that you live in, that you find yourself living in, it doesn't come out of, quote unquote, a vacuum. It doesn't just pop out of nowhere. The community or whatever this is called, whatever experience that you're having via the internet, and when it comes to consciousness or enlightenment or what they may call woke and whatnot, all of that has its origin and it all comes from somewhere. It just didn't come out of anywhere, right? So I'm going to share my screen real quick. I put this article up, and I wanted to remind my audience of the 10-year cycle that we're in right now, where things begin to change very, very drastically, both in a good way and also in a very uncontrollable way. Things began to shift very quickly for the conscious community in 2014. That was a catalyst year. That was what is considered the golden years of consciousness. You feel me? They would say, if I were to ask 10 people, I think about 8 people would agree that the calendar years of 2014 leading up to about 2016 would be the golden era of consciousness. You feel me? There are other periods and there are other stretches of time. If I wanted to stretch it, I would say, well, 2010 leading up to 2020 was the golden era of consciousness. That's what I would say if I were to stretch it. But if I were to condense it, I would say 2014 to 2016, that was it right there. And in 2014, what took place was Mike Brown and my brother in Staten Island, Eric Gardner. You feel me? Mike Brown, which took place, look at the dates, right? Let me show you. Mike Brown took place after Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner was in July. Okay. Eric Gardner was in July 2014, right here on the island of Staten, where the Wu was from, right? They committed this act of a lynching and whatnot, right? What it did was it got the people somewhat infuriated, but the people were not ready and prepared to quote unquote kick it off. It was what's called a catalyst to this right here, okay? Similar to how George Floyd had a catalyst. His catalyst was Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud, the brother who was jogging in Atlanta. Those were the catalysts that set off George Floyd. And they were like, enough is enough. We can't take it. So that was the powder keg. It's usually not one lynching. It's a succession of a few of them that gets our people activated through whatever programming they've programmed into our people in order to push their buttons and keep them on this perpetual string, right? This perpetual string where social engineers and these quote unquote social scientists who understand what they understand how to move people, they understand how to infuriate people, they understand how to control what they call the cattle. And they use a lot of these false flag operations and whatnot. And when I speak of Mike Brown or anybody that you see who is, these are martyrs, by the way. I have to reinforce that, and I'll show you in a minute why I say that. I will never disrespect them and call them victims of police brutality, because that, my friends, is a misnomer. No longer are they victims. They go under the title of martyrs, right? So in 2014, in the conscious community, I have to paint a picture so people can understand the direction that the community was going in. So in 2014, Blog Talk Radio was the dominant platform where your current stars and your luminaries and your teachers, your master teachers, and all of the quote unquote lifestyle, the bubbling of this movement, it was forming on Blog Talk Radio, which happened to be a quote unquote faceless channel, right? It's the beginning of podcasting, but it's not video, it's only audio. People did not know what everybody looked like unless you put your face on a flyer and whatnot. We didn't have the connection to social media was not what it is today. So in 2014, YouTube begins to relax in their restriction of time periods of videos and whatnot. And then they start opening it up for long form video, right? And then long form video is what took the conscious community from out of the DVD era and the Blog Talk Radio era and put them on YouTube and blew them out of the water. So this is the first time in recorded history of the internet, because remember, this whole YouTube wave where people going viral for dropping information about consciousness, doing live debates and whatnot, breaking things down and saying things that basically fucked up the algorithm forever, right? And they had to respond to that. This was the first time that they were seeing something like this on this scale ever. Because keep in mind, remember, this whole social media thing in 2014 is really just beginning to build up like that. YouTube as a platform where people see it as TV and whatnot, it's beginning to form like that. You don't have none of the channels that you have today existed back then. You don't have nothing called podcasts that existed back in those days during that time. You didn't even have the term woke was not being used back at that time. People who existed on what they call Black Twitter, that was a separate network and a separate world that did not have nothing to do with the conscious community. We didn't know who they was, and we're not aware if they knew who we were and whatnot. We built our own network, our own wave. We built our own movement. we did all of that off of basically right there through YouTube on 2014 on 125th Street, and there was other places as well, but that was the epicenter and whatnot. And there was a lot of things taking place and whatnot. We were not necessarily known for getting into the politics of protests, right? We were not into getting into the protests of what they would call the civil rights movements and stuff like that. That was not the direction that the community was moving into, because we were all students underneath the tutelage of what we call today master teachers, that had more connotation to it back then than it does now. It doesn't have that much weight right now, but back in those days, the master teacher and the master teachers, that held a lot of weight. So if you came out of this, and people were identified by their schools of thought and knowledge. So the Nation of Islam is a school of knowledge. The MSTA is a school of knowledge. The Moors of other groups and whatnot, those are different schools of knowledge. You feel me? The Nation of Gods and Earth, schools of knowledge. NOI, schools of knowledge. All of these different schools of knowledge were existing all around one another in a cohesive, agreeable type of way, right? There wasn't no disagreement. People wasn't arguing. None of that stuff existed and whatnot. And the conscious community, they existed on 125th Street. They also existed in Brooklyn. They also existed in Detroit. They existed many different places where the teachers, Philadelphia, you know what I mean, where the teachers were building up their followings. And of course, once you're on the internet, it goes global. So now you got global movements. When Black Lives Matter was created in 2014, and when a lot of the people, quote unquote, shifted into this ambulance chasing type of rhetoric, right? No disrespect to anybody involved with any of these quote unquote stories around this time, and all of the stories leading up to this time, right? The involvement of the Benjamin Crumps, the involvement of the Democrats, the involvement of the liberals, the involvement of the small hats, the involvement of Al Sharpton, the involvement of the government-sponsored triple agents that was swarming all around, the involvement of the rainbow people, the involvement of so many things into the woke movement from 2014 up to where we are to 2024. You don't need me to personally bash anybody. It speaks for itself. You could sit back and just look out the window and see where that thing has taken us and what it looks like right now. Yes, rise in power to Darren Seals, because Darren Seals, if he was still alive, a lot of those organizations could not even exist, bro. They could not even exist. Do you know why? Because he would not allow he was going to speak the truth on what the hell was taking place, because he was considered to be the whistleblower back then, who was saying, hold up, wait a minute, this shit is not what you think it is. I remember when the movement, that Black Lives BLM started, people were being hypnotized and put underneath spells and whatnot. He blew the trumpet and was like, nah, this ain't what you think it is. This is an infiltration. Exactly what we was on 125th Street saying, and people were like, oh, they just mad because these people getting a lot of action and whatnot. No, nigga, that's the government. You know what I'm talking about? They don't got no ties to nobody. They never said the name of the master teacher. This is a red light. This is an alert. This is not one of the ways, but this is one of, I'm going to share something. This is one of the ways where you could immediately spot if somebody is coming through and they have the potential to not be who they say they are. If they don't tie themselves to any of the master teachers, not saying that they have to, because a lot of people came into consciousness in these days that we're in right now, and you don't need a master teacher. However, if they don't even feel like saying, because you don't have to come through a master teacher to acknowledge the teachings of one, those who come before you, to keep that name alive and whatnot. The people who have problem with that, I want you to be pay very close attention. Pay very close attention. You feel me? Pay very close attention. So when the infiltration of BLM took place, this whole thing began to shift in dramatic ways. You just had to be there in order to see it. There was a lot of things going on in 2014, y'all. There was a lot of shit going on in 2014, bro. You feel me? And it's just interesting how far things have come, you know? But nothing is taking place outside of itself. And time is centrifugal and we moving in cycles. You feel me? So here it is, right? Check this out. So in August, this is when the whole Mike Brown thing started, right? But later on in December, right? In December 31st, the anniversary yesterday, I got a reminder from Facebook about a 10-year anniversary on December 21st. And then I looked at this article and it reminded that when I said earlier that Eric Gardner and Mike Brown were martyred, right? This man named Ishmael Abdullah Brinsley, he came into New York City and he carried out what he would call street justice, or he carried out unaliving of officers Rafael Ramos and Wen John Liu, two on-duty NYPD officers in Bed-Stuy, right? And then allegedly they said that he unalived himself in a train station, right? And he said when he did what he did that he was avenging the deaths of Eric Garner, right? Eric Garner and also Mike Brown, okay? And he said he shed the blood in their names. That's what he said, right? This is a story that they don't even refer to this. This is something that's very buried and whatnot. They don't like people to know about martyrdom because you can invoke the spirit of martyrs in ways that you can't invoke the spirit of a victim. Okay. So let's go through this list real quick of some of the things that took place in this year. Like this is a soft rollout, you know what I mean? Ultimately on the Monday, December the 30th, me and Ross Ben are going to be on Zoom doing the full visual lecture. This is just me going through these slides with y'all so we could go ahead and go down this timeline and go into the DeLorean and you know, and just reminisce together. I think that's very important. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's very important. So let us go down the rabbit hole. All right. There's a lot of winners and losers in this year. And my disclaimer before I begin is nothing that I talk about in my review of the year is personal, right? Because I know that there's a lot of egomaniacs that are out there, and they may feel if I speak on something or somebody that it may be a personal attack. And the role that I play at the end of the year is the media, and I'm unbiased. You feel me? So I call it like I see it. You feel me? No personal agenda, not trying to clown nobody, but I got to speak my truth the way that I see it. You dig? I've been doing it, so I'm going to continue. So these are some of the winners. These are some of the losers of 2024, and we'll build on that. One of the biggest losers in the world of technology for the year 2024 is Apple as a company, okay? They did real lesser than expected this year. They did a rollout for a device that was supposed to be the future of technology. This was supposed to be the year of VR. 2024 was supposed to be the year of virtual reality and augmented reality. And this was not the year that it caught on. This was not the year that it took off. and this was not its year. This was the year that shit flopped and whatnot. And to make matters worse, their quote unquote the hot streak that they had as a company is beginning to slow down. Earlier in the year, when I got wind of some of the practices that they were involved in the Congo, right? When I got wind of how close and how deep their hands were in the cookie jar when it came to this quote unquote unjust genocide that's taking place in the Congo, I immediately went to some of my people who work with the quote unquote day trading and the stocks and whatnot, and I started putting together a plan to short the company, to short their stocks, because I already know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, not when, but not where, but when. You feel me? This company will not be able to remain at a high standing on the market and whatnot when they're exposed about the role that they play in the Congo. So I'm predicting that we're going to see more of a downward spiral in Apple, okay, because their hands are very, very dirty right now. All right. And just the other day, right, just as we put this thing together, just the other day, it may have been Friday, the Congo filed a criminal complaint against Apple in Europe over conflict minerals and whatnot. So, hold this L. A company that caught a W this year, okay? A company that caught a W this year, and, based off of the innovation that this company was able to introduce, right, to the imagination, because if anybody is very well versed in marketing, before you do anything in marketing, you have to sell the idea, you have to sell the vision, you have to sell the dream. That's what creating a white paper initially does, similar to when you create a blueprint or a draft for some type of architecture. So he's creating concept cars of his conceptual ideas, right? And in this day and age where you have robots working at factories and you got 3D printing machines and all kind of stuff, it's not as difficult as it may have used to be to create a straight up concept or conceptual car just based off of something that you could design on your tablet. So here you have the robo taxi and the robo van, and he rolled out what is known as the Optimus bot. Now, for all of the advocates out there who are against AI and robotics and whatnot, once again, this is a review of the year, not my personal feelings of what it is. It's a W. Why is it a W? Because moving into 2025, this is going to revolutionize and it's going to change a lot of the ways that society is even interfacing with their low-tech robotics. Low-tech robotics will be like the little robot Swiffer that does the little vacuuming. Low-tech is Alexa on your counter and whatnot. Low-tech is the Ring camera. We're about to enter into a phase where they're going to take low-tech to a whole nother level, and you're going to have robots that will be able to serve you and do damn near anything that you program it to do. Go into the store, mowing the lawn, washing the dishes, maybe even cooking and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? You might even need to do a little slow jam. I don't know. But that's what these Tesla bots are programmed to do at 30 bands. Yeah, that they're moving into the world of the droids. Okay. Soon after that, there will be humans mixing with the droids. And then after that, you will see the transhumanism agenda begin to unfold. Now, once again, that's a timeline that you don't have to be on if you put yourself into the quote unquote mind state that that's not the timeline that you don't want to be on, and you create a scenario where all of that shit gets disrupted and it doesn't happen. What I'm pointing out is what the timeline is dictating. This is the direction that is going into, which is robotics, smart robots, what they call AGI. You know what I'm talking about? And the company Tesla under Elon Musk had a very W year. All right. And we are going to be looking at these products put into the stream next year. Now, when I talk about the streamers, I'm going to go very, very in depth, right? I'm going to do a super duper deep dive on the streamer world and what it did in 2024 and how and where it came from and what exactly is it, because you would not know anything about this world unless you were necessarily in this world. On the screen right here, these groups, the picture of these kids that you're looking at, they may just look like a group of the faces of kids that you see anywhere on the bus, anywhere that in school, wherever you at, in the McDonald's that you was in, you know what I mean? You be like, I see these kids everywhere. But these kids right here are, collectively, if you were to add up the followers that each one of these young adults on this page right here, collectively, if you add them all up, it would probably be more than the population of America and Europe combined, right? That's just how many followers, that's just how many quote unquote eyeballs and what is known as the attention economy. I want to keep I want to put it into into the proper context that we live in an economy that is called the attention economy. It is not how I feel. It's not something that I'm making up. We are also living in what is known as the creator economy. And we also are living in the digital economy, as well as something called the gig economy. Okay. And there's other economies, but I just pointed out a few of them. There's also the influencer economy. If you're an influencer and you out here getting bags and whatnot, or you're doing user generated content, UGC, which I would say is the most important content in the whole content carousel and whatnot. But the streamers, they get the award, they get the W for the year. They are winning in ways that even the rappers are not winning. I will go on a ledge and I will go as far as to say that the streamers have replaced the rappers as the new it kids. Okay? Don't be fooled by Elon. He comes from apartheid. Man, I hope you tap more into the program, because we give it plate. We do not fuck with no Elon over here. We break it down as to who he is. He's one of the 4 pale-faced horsemen. So we once again, not personal. It's a review of the year, right? So that's how you got to give it up the way it is. This is the script, and it is what it is. So these are the streamers: Aiden Ross, Phantom, Duke Dennis, Kai Cenat, and I threw T-Pain in there because T-Pain is literally making big bands from playing video games and whatnot. He's a group of rappers who are able to parlay. They were able to parlay themselves into the streamer or the gamer world and bought themselves a whole new existence, a whole new timeline. T Grizzly and whatnot, T-Pain and whatnot, playing on their own servers, legends in that world. So yeah, this group is called AMP. And the streamers are, like I said, based off of the research that I've done. And once again, there's different demographics that are out here. I'm definitely not talking to the aunties and the unks and whatnot. Y'all don't know who these people are. I'm literally speaking to the this is for 12 to 25, 12 to 30 years old. If you're in your 40s and 50s, I'm just putting you on to the culture. They're part of the culture now, okay? More influential than the rappers. The rappers lost their grips on the minds of the kids. I'm speaking about who has the minds of the children, the most important real estate on the planet, right? The marketers know this, the labels know this, Hollywood knows this, but somehow the most smartest people on the world, on the planet, they don't act like they know it, but I know it. The most important demographics, 12 to 25. And they fuck with I Show Speed, Kai Connect, AMP, Face Clan, a whole bunch of shit. It's a crowded stage. But if you have a child, a young adult, a teenager who's going through nihilist stages of nihilism where they feel like there's no reason to be here, where they're searching for meaning and whatnot, why they, you know what I mean? They like, I hate it here. You know, all of that gothic, emo, dark shit. Then I'm talking to you. You dig? And these dudes right here are clearing some serious money. They're making the amount of money that athletes are making. We gonna pocket watch and whatnot. They're making athlete level money and whatnot. They're following one of the best formulas in this economy that's called SaaS. You feel me? SaaS. Subscription as a service. Okay. Talk that SaaS. One of the reasons why Bad Bunny and Sophia Rain and the OF models are making all that money is from subscriptions. The reason why the streamers on Twitch are making all of that money is off of subscriptions. The reason why the streamers on Kick was making money is off of subscriptions. So there's a culprit in all of the formulas of people getting rich in the attention economy. What's the attention economy? The attention economy is I could upload a video on TikTok, on YouTube, on IG, on Snapchat. If those channels are monetized, people are going to pay. I'm going to get paid per clicks. I'm getting paid for people looking at me, right? That's the attention economy. So the more attention that I get, the more quote unquote currency I can accrue, right? So once people realize that, once they figure that out, they say, well, let me show some tits. Let me show some ass. Let me make a fool of myself. Let me start barking and whatnot. Let me do a little bit of minstrel shit, minstrel show type of shit. You know what I mean? Let me do a little bit of coonery and whatnot. I'm only going to get the bag because I want you to keep in mind the demographics that I brought up a minute ago, the 12 to the 25-year-olds. If you're 20 years old, that means that you were here in, you know, if you're 24, 25 years old, you was here for the Y2K, right? You've seen a lot of shit. You grew up in a time where you were tapping into something called drill rap, right? Because that was for your generation. When you were coming up and whatnot, that music spoke to you specifically. Y'all understood what Chief Keef and them was mumbling about, like it was Morse codes and whatnot. The beats per minute, the lexicon, the words that people were using, the slang and whatnot, all of that shit spoke to that generation. Now, what is it? Generation Z, right? So Generation Z came up with the drill, right? And throughout all of that, they witnessed all type of murders. They witnessed all type of homicides of their favorite artists, overdoses. I'm talking about so much shit that this generation is suffering from PTSD. They suffering from They suffering from survivor's remorse. They suffering from, you name it, right? Because they lived through a very trying and horrific 20 years. So, you know what they're into right now? They're into aspirational masculinity versus the shit that they've been following where they know that it's a dead end. Look, Dirk is in jail, right? That whole shit went up in smoke. So there is no future in a drill rapper, but there is future in Kai Cenat. You understand how that works? There is no future in, what was Little Baby's crew, and he had to rename the crew because he said the feds was on him, right? Four pockets full, right? There is no more YSL. There's AMP because these streamers are not dying. These streamers are not beefing. These streamers are not gang banging. 4PF. It's 4PF is no more. If you got the tattoo, get it removed, my nigga. If you're wearing the chain, you might want to pawn it because he said that he got rid of that shit because 4PF was seen as a gang and he wasn't trying to get a Rico. You know what I'm talking about? Rico got the W this year. And I ain't talking about Suave. So the children, when you speak to an auditorium full of children and you ask them how many of y'all want to be content creators, the majority of them are going to raise their hands because their favorite content creators are making $700 million. Their favorite content creator has 700,000 subscribers paying $5. Yeah, they do beef. I didn't say that they don't be beefing, right? They do beef over who's glazing who, but they're not drilling. Everybody beefs, right? Everybody has their quote unquote, these are men, these are boys. This is this is part of what is called bro culture, right? This is bro culture at its heights. These are teenagers, horny teenagers with a lot of money, right? So everything that you would think of that you deal with teenagers is what you'll be exposed to when you tap into the streaming world. They talking about fornicating, masturbating. They talking about rizzing girls up. They talking about clothes. They talking about dances, music, all of the things that teenagers supposed to be talking about. I have no problem with it. I laugh at that shit. It's all funny to me. Even when all of it, because once again, I would rather watch that than watch the children that's locked up in youth detention and what they going through. Feel me? Or rather watch a shit about what the youth in Chicago that's out here killing each other because they got babies out there, 13 and 14 and 15, drilling on one another. Yeah, I would rather watch these kids who are low-key getting rich off of doing variety shows and playing games and whatnot and just being silly and shit. Why not? Because if my child, if I have the option of what I would want my son to tap in and watch, what kind of content do I want him to consume, I would rather him watch the content where people are not promoting the deaf culture, people are not promoting quote unquote murder, death, kill. Now, once again, let me make the distinction on what takes place. These children are just like how you were as children. They're gonna listen to the street shit. They're going to be drawn to the street culture. They're going to want to mimic a lot of street shit because remember, the youth get influenced by their OGs, right? By the old heads. You feel me? So they got to see something coming from the old folks or the people that are older than them. And then, of course, they begin to conform in that direction. You feel me? But these kids and whatnot, they're just being kids. You feel me? They're being kids. And one thing that I would love our people to do is to allow these children to be children. You feel me? And but yeah, the streamers have taken over the YouTubers, and like I said, for the most part, even the influence that the rappers have on the youth, and also we talking about a lot of white kids too. This is a lot of white kids. However, in the world of hip hop culture, just in the world of a lot of the things that we do, it seems as if that demographics is tethered to what it is that we do. You feel me? They're fans, they're paying you know what I mean? Like they're supporters, they want the experience. And when you're on the internet, you are broadcasting your experience. You cannot control who is feeling your experience, who's relating to you as a person, who's drawn by your message. As long as it's anchored in what it's supposed to be anchored in, you don't know who you attracting. You know? So streamers with the W, you know what I'm talking about? Streamers with the W this year. This is the year that they solidified it. They may have been around for many, many years, but 2024 was the definitive year where the streamers basically took the crown and became they killed what the world of podcasts, that whole podcast sphere, that podcast bubble popped in a sense. That YouTube shit, like the Adam 22s, DJ Academics, and all of that stuff is being replaced by the streamers. Okay. So look out for more of that in 2025. Murder music. Murder music, right? Took an L in the year 2024. Now, for anybody that's out there that's tapped into the murder music anagram, you know that it's either going up or it's going down. And if you really tapped in, if you really got your ears to the street, you'll know when it has the people under a complete spell and when it's in its jubilee and when it's going up, like when the stock is in its green candle. And you know when that shit is taking a dive and whatnot, because you know when the quote unquote appeal of certain artists begin to wear away, when the quote unquote spell that certain artists can have over people, when that spell begins to break, when it begins to wear away, when it begins to dissipate, right? I remember living in Atlanta and Little Baby had a murder spell over the youth and whatnot. And the people that were listening to his music, like they would do anything that he said. I remember when there was a time when Young Thug had a spell over Atlanta, and anything that he would tell them people to do, they would do it. I remember a time when Meek Mill had a super spell over the trenches in the hood, don't matter where you was from, and whatever he said and whatever he was saying in those rhymes, people were trying to do it. They were trying to mimic it, and he had people in a headlock. I remember a time where Little Durk had the people in a headlock whenever he said and what he was instructing people to do with his murder music anagram. They were marching to the quote unquote flute that he was blowing and whatnot as the Pied Piper. They were marching to the drummer boy's drum. I remember a time when NBA Youngboy was telling dudes to go and kill, thrill kill, spin the block, run down, walk him down, and all of this stuff. And when he was at his heights, the murder rate was also at his heights. And the way that you could tell that the spell is thick is because the bodies be dropping. And the music that are made by these artists is called murder music. That is not the only music in their catalog. That's not the only music. When Vaughn was spinning and he had the murder rate going crazy, when Kodak had the murder rate going crazy, right? All of these artists that you see on this flyer right here all went through a decline, right? In the year 2024, all of their spells broke. Now, when I'm looking at these artists, all of them have different circumstances that interrupted the upward trajectory of their message and their energy and whatnot. They all encountered some type of quote unquote turbulence in their flight. You understand? They all had different interruptions and whatnot. Nonetheless, all of them have been interrupted. And when you interrupt, right, the harbingers of a certain type of frequency, when you interrupt the quote unquote trumpets from blowing and whatnot, when you interrupt the spell from being quote unquote broadcast, then that gives certain people the opportunity to wake up and to turn to something else, right? Because people are being bombarded by this frequency and this music, because they'll wake up from the spell that a Meek Mill might have them under and then go pop up and hop on a spell from the new young nigga. So they not rocking with Baby, but they rocking with a new nigga out here. What's that little boy name? Baby Drill, right? They rocking with Baby Drill. You know what I'm talking about? So the rappers control the murder rate. You know what I'm talking about? When they make murder music and murder anthems. Yeah, Boozy as well. Boozy, one of the originators of the murder anthem and the murder anagram and murder music, what we would call deaf culture, right? So when we take an assessment of the business or the industry, right, this is a way where we could basically begin to measure if it's changing or not. So I'm here to let you know, okay, as a music connoisseur, as a musical critic, but somebody who's able to see different layers of this music game or this music business or this music industry, I'm letting you know that it has been quote unquote disrupted. Okay, this genre right here, there's many different genres that exist. There's many different genres, right? This is just one of them. Okay, this is just one of them, but it doesn't have the same appeal that it had in 2023. It got stomped out. Look, this nigga, what's his name? Young Thug. Yeah, he was able to come home, but he comes home under the condition that is lyric reform. He can't necessarily stand in the booth and feel comfortable saying the stupid shit that might have got him jammed up in the first place. I mean, you know, Meek Mills, he got laughed out of the game. Nothing that he says sticks anymore. Lil Durk, he got jammed up. People don't even, his shit don't even hit the same no more. Come to find out, he was just telling on himself the whole time. NBA Youngboy, the grip that he had with the stupid, goofy shit that he did, you know what I'm talking about? People are snapping out of that. They waking up from that. You know? They waking up from that. So that culture took a hit. Okay? There was no bigger hit that got taken this year than the takedown of Aubrey Graham, right? This was the Goliath that fell. 2024 will go down in history as the year that his reign came to an end. You know what I mean? Y'all could go ahead and tuck him in and put him to sleep and whatnot. You feel me? The reign of the Scorpion, Drake, Aubrey Graham, came to a screeching halt in 2024. You understand? It came to a screeching halt. We'll never be the same. We'll never go back to what it was. Your superpowers are being neutralized. This man, right, had an intricate relationship with all of these guys right here. You understand? And even more. Not to take anything away from your favorite artist, Aubrey Graham and whatnot, but we got to point out some of the subtleties that people tend to gloss over and not recognize because this nigga's light skinned. He has his hands in a lot of shit that he has no business in. You feel me? He's not that type of character. He's not built like that. And if this whole battle this year didn't show you that, then that might explain why you make a lot of horrible decisions with the squares that you got around you. Because you know, a blind man can see this shit, but you probably can't. Right? So we all know the story about what had happened. We're not even going to get into that. What we're going to get into is what it means, right? That's what we're going to get into. What does it ultimately mean? Why does people, why is his name continuously resurfacing in the news cycle with an L attached to it? This nigga got more L's than Google got in his name, bro. I'm trying to explain to you. He's taking a lot of L's. He's taking a lot of L's. Spotify just came out the other day and was like, boy, if you don't stop, you know what I'm talking about? If you don't stop playing with us, shit. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't stop playing with us, he's not going to be able to work in that town again. He's not going to be able to work in that town the same way he did. The Emperor has no clothes, right? Underestimated his opponent. Did not take the loss, right? Like he does when he gambles. He did not take the loss like he does when he loses in gambling. So the fact that he did not want to take the L and the ego got in the way, then you've seen the greatest meltdown in all of music history. The greatest crash out in all of hip hop history. It's not taking the first L, it's adding the last L to your name because it's not necessarily the fact that you could take an L in life because we all take L's. It's what do you do after you take the L? Do you make it worse or do you fix things? You understand? The label of the year that comes out of all of this fracas that emerges as a quote unquote powerhouse, that emerges as the new sound, the new label to look at, emerges victorious, right, as a protectorate. Because keep in mind, Kendrick Lamar is not signed to TDE, but during the war, you would never know because you did not see PG Lang's CEO on Twitter holding down Kendrick. Who was it? Punch from TDE. Who was continuously surrounding Kendrick to shield him? TDE. Who was standing up and saying, look, if he going, I'm going? TDE, right? They stood with Kendrick through the whole war. You would never know that he wasn't on the label. And it doesn't hurt that they put out a bunch of classics this year. So first and foremost, SZA, even though she didn't come out this year, but she dominated this year based off of her quote unquote, now her deluxe that she just dropped, this fire, and her guest appearances with Kendrick, classic. And then you had Schoolboy Q with the Blue Lips album, fire, right? Fire. That shit blew me away. I'm not the biggest fan of Ab Soul's new album, but for some people, fire. And then, of course, Doechii, who they're saying is the next superstar, all eyes on Doechii. She came out. She shocked the world. She's Grammy nominated. People are talking about her like she's the next one. And then, of course, you got K-Dot. And let's not even mention the other artists that didn't come out this year. But TDE is the label of the year. They got it. In my humble opinion. You feel me? There's other contenders, and we'll cover that in the quote unquote review. But they got the number one, they get the crown, they get the quote unquote medal for this year and whatnot. In the West Coast, as an honorable mention, they get the crown for hip hop this year. Tyler the Creator, West Coast. You feel me? TDE, they did their thing, you know. The rollouts were clean and whatnot. Yeah, Vince Staples, my nigga, big hit. You feel me? Like the West Coast got 2024 West Side, the same 24 on Kobe's jersey. That's why I put him on a flyer. You feel me? That's why I put that Kobe on a flyer, baby. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he right there. Boom. That's the year 24, but it's West Side. It's a West Coast 24. They dominated the music, y'all. They got this shit. No problem. They got this. You feel me? And they artists was keeping it so West Coast. You feel me? All of them artists was keeping it so West Coast. So it wasn't like Kendrick just came out with an album this year. And it wasn't like Kendrick, when he was fighting a battle, he was just rapping. No, nigga. He was in his West Coast bag. Nigga. He was in a low rider. He was in his West Coast bag. The album is heavily West Coast. You dig? You couldn't tell me, even the artists that are on TDE, from Dolce to SZA, they all giving me West Coast vibes. You feel me? They all giving me West Coast vibes. So salute to that. Salute to the West Coast. You feel me? I'm not one of those coast haters. You feel me? All coasts are the best coast. Salute to the West. Stand in your moment. Stand in your bag and whatnot. I pray that a black hippie revival type of group comes out of the West Coast with all of that energy. They got the grid on fire out there. I just want the I want the J Electronica, the new J Electronica, the new Nas's, the new Nipsey's to come out of there. You know, now that you got Kendrick as, you know, as a template, I'm looking for some fire poets, some fire artists with some fire delivery and some fire performers of different genres, of course. You don't all got to sound like Kendrick. Like, it's the variety for me. It's the variety for me. The gangbanging thing is going to have to subside. But that's a process, though. This is all a process. You feel me? These brothers and sisters, they need to tap into the pride first. You feel me? And then from there, then you can start talking about the vision and whatnot. Then you can start focusing on, you know, the possibilities and the potential and whatnot. But they got to be able to see it first. And when I was out there with A.A. Rashid, I was upset because I was like, damn, this shit is hurting me, because these brothers are not going to be able to see their full potential. You feel me? Because of that gang shit is getting in the way of unfulfilled potential. And it's egregious how many people have lost in that game out there. You know what I mean? That shit swallowing up messianic forces. It's swallowing up messiahs and whatnot. But it got to come to some type of end, and they could rescue themselves through the arts, and it would take them to the sciences. You feel me? There has to be an evolution of what was taking place all of those years and whatnot. And the only thing that's gonna make something change is some motion, nigga. You're not gonna change if you don't got motion. So I'm seeing collaborations between the red and the blue that I ain't never seen before. I'm seeing collaborations between the black and the brown that I ain't never seen before. So once again, instead of seeing a gang war taking place, I'm actually witnessing the opposite of that. They gonna remember 2024. Niggas done put on Lefty Gunplay and all of them. In 2024, I seen at the pop out red and blue on the stage walking together. That's what I saw. So once again, I give the W to the West Coast. Y'all did that. You feel me? Y'all made Nipsey proud type shit. You feel me? Y'all made Nipsey proud type shit. You feel me? Y'all smoked the boots off of that off the Fugazi the Emperor. You showed that the Emperor had no clothes. Y'all was able to gang when it came time to hold the homie down in this quote unquote lyrical water he was in. But I'm like, this shit was battle rap on a cosmic level though. It's everything Blue Pill talks about in the Law of 44. It's his whole pillar prophecy. Yeah, I didn't listen to the Dre and Snoop album. I was waiting for y'all to come back and say something. My ears is precious. I'm not listening to nothing that don't have no motion. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't doing it. Y'all said, you know what I mean? Y'all was coming back with lackluster reviews. I'ma just save myself. Yeah, nigga, TDE. Yeah, get on my level. Yeah, La Russell go crazy. The whole, all of them, bro. They all going crazy, bro. Will get crazier. You know what I mean? 9-5, motherfucker. I don't know if y'all was alive in 9-5, but if 2024 is mimicking 1994 in terms of the sauce and the drip, because I heard people saying, yo, 2024 is the best year ever in hip-hop. Nigga, you ain't been alive long enough to say some shit like that, man. I don't know about all that. Cause I don't know about all that. It's a doozy. You know what I mean? It's one of the most lit years in a long time, but I don't know if it's the most lit year in all of hip hop, nigga. Come on now. Like 94, that shit was pressure. It was heavy. So 95 was heavy too, my nigga. 9-5, motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers. 9-5, motherfuckers. So I know how heavy 9-5 was. 2025 better live up to that. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, yo, green light on Fat Joe. I'm just saying, what's popping? Cause I never really fucked with Fat Joe like that. He was always a Guido. He was always moving like a Guido. So he's just showing his hands, man. They gonna, you know what I mean? They gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to sit down and break bread, eat some spaghetti with the bosses. So aesthetic nihilism. Okay, aesthetic nihilism, something that we spoke of many times and whatnot. We did lectures on the aesthetic nihilism. That is what you're witnessing in hip hop. That is what you're witnessing with the youth culture. That is what you're witnessing with YN culture. That is what you're witnessing with crash out culture. That is what you're witnessing with gang culture. That's the streets, my nigga. And that music is seeing a decline. Okay, that music is beginning to see a decline, right? Something is breaking through. It just so happens, right, that this year, along with other years, but this year in particular, reinforced the fan theory that we are currently living in the villain era. Right now, nothing to celebrate because that villain shit, you know, it gets scary, spooky. What the boy said, hilarious, right? It could get spooky and shit. You know what I mean? But there's never been a year that I remember major studios putting millions upon millions of dollars to back projects where the main characters are villains. Just really think about that. We didn't come up like that. We did not come up like Superman 1, 2, 3, Rocky. The star was not a villain. These days, the movies have stars that are villains, and the whole cast are villains. So you don't know who to root for. You find yourself rooting for the villain. That is unprecedented. That did not happen before. This is something that Hollywood did not necessarily entertain. Not in the way that they're entertaining it now, bro. There's so many villains, I couldn't fit them on this one page, bro. There's Loki. There's a whole bunch of killers off of Netflix. These people are headlining shows. They're the main character. We're entering into their universes and whatnot, going along with them for their heinous murders and crimes. Henceforth, while there's been an uptick in copycat murders in America, where people are indulging in the pastime sport of body dismemberment, beheadings, and all type of things. This is taking place on the watch while people are tapped into what is called Netflix and Kill. What is Netflix and Kill? Netflix and Kill is the quote unquote catalog of crime sagas, true life, true crime, all on Netflix. The Dahmer story, Edward Casey story, how to get away with murder, you name it, right? That's Netflix and Kill. Okay. Yeah, shout out to my nigga Jonathan Major. He gets a W for this year. Yeah, he came out with a W. He got engaged. He shorty dropped the charges. He's coming out with a movie about bodybuilding, and they're considering bringing Kang back into the quote unquote Marvel universe. So Jonathan Majors with the W. It's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. That's why I say, if you catch an L this year, don't hang, man. Do not crash out. You know what I'm talking about? Don't crash out on some baby. Do not crash out like a YN. Don't do it, because you could bounce back next year or the year after that. Jonathan got the W. Yes, he got engaged to Megan Good. You're Megan Good. Yes, her. Yes, her, nigga. Yes, he got engaged to her. He picked her up. Yeah, that part. He got a job. He's about to get a check so he could pay Megan Good back, nigga. Yeah, they could go 50-50. He got a job now. He's about to drop a fucking movie. And the snow bunny done got up off of him. Yes, and I think he's cured of crackatosis. You dig? So Jonathan with the W. He should change that name though. No offense to all of my niggas named Jonathan, but just shorten it to John. Because everybody that I know named Jonathan gets washed. Let's continue. Villain era. Even in the TV show The Boys, the good guy went a villain. The nigga right here named Billy the Butcher. He became a villain and whatnot. And he became a necessary evil. You got Venom. You got the Joker. You got Penguin, Oscorp. Huh? They have us wrapped up in the villain era. And then in real life, right? They also, for the culture, right? For the culture, not necessarily people who just listen to Bobby Hemmett all day, not people that are super duper tapped in, but some of the people on this line, y'all get in the pool. Y'all, you know what I'm talking about? Y'all get in the dirty pool sometime. So you know what the fuck I mean when I say the culture. The culture has an affinity for the bad guy. And this year, in 2024, again, this year more than any year, to be honest with you, this year more than any year, okay, once again gave credence to this fan theory of mine about us being in the villain era. Okay? Because these three guys right here all hail from different walks of life. However, the combined spell that they have on the minds of the people, oh, it's outrageous. I don't think you understand. If you add up how many people they have they have a standing army that could probably go against China. Big Meech, Vibes Cartel, and Young Thug. How many slimes, how many gremlins, how many goonies, do they have under their command? Let me know. They got every day walker, every night crawler. You know what I'm talking about? Every nigga with a switch. They got a whole standing army, a whole Gaza, right? So coincidentally, 2024 is the year to return, because 2024 was the year that a lot of people returned from the underworld. Keep in mind, when we speak about prison, I know that, people see prison as a regular thing, like, oh, people go to jail. When I look at it in a more esoteric light. I see it as the underworld. I see it as purgatory. I see it as storage, where energies, personalities, and egos are stored. Certain pedigrees of man, right? Because they say that the real niggas is locked up and all of the OGs and da-da-da. No, certain energies is locked up, because they got to keep certain energies out the way while other energies persist and whatnot, because two things can exist in the same place at the same time. So you'll have the dinosaurs, a certain type of energy is locked up in those mountains and whatnot, spread around America. You'll have niggas that's moving with the 80s energy or the 90s energy. It's still in them and whatnot. They still holding on to it. They running around like Jim Brown in that bitch. But you won't find that in the streets where niggas is sassy and moist. You understand how that works? You understand how that works? So they bury niggas alive and they put niggas in the purgatory because your energy is not of the time and whatnot. So they just put you on pause and they put you in storage with a bunch of people who are of certain low frequencies like yours. Some people don't make it out of purgatory and some do. And they open up the gates of hell and they let these people back into society to be like almost akin to martyrs. Because these niggas get worshiped by the worst of our people, right? Now, one of the things about returning from purgatory, esoterically, how it's seen through the eyes of people in an occult way, the reason why niggas get barbecues thrown for them and they celebrate you when you come home, and they throw parties for you, and you could get a lot of things done for you in favor, because it's almost like you're washed of your sins. Once you get buried alive and you're able to come from the underworld, it's assumed that you went through your karma and you burnt for your sins. Now you come back and you're shining and you're anew, right? You come out of purgatory, you come out of the box, you come out of the jail. You know the rappers do that shit first day out, nigga. First day out, it's a ritual now. It's a Negro spiritual first day out, right? Because when you come home, you're admonished of your sins. You could be a killer and kill niggas. When you come home, the people got to deal with you. And they could forgive you, or they could continue to try to persecute you. But when you do your time, you, in an esoteric way, think about it. You wash yourself and you come back anew. Henceforth, when people come home, they want to come home on a clean record. So the big Meeches, the Vibes Cartels, and the Young Thugs, if they were able to read the room correctly and have the right team around them, they would come home with a new energy and start from anew, right? They would not try to come home to try to resurrect the same things that got them put in purgatory. They would not try to come home and mimic the same type of activities and whatnot that they had to pray to a higher power to grant them clemency and quote unquote forgiveness. And they told them, not me and not you. They probably told them that they would never do it again, or they won't get into no shit like that. So 2024 was a year that a lot of people came home from doing long bids in the culture. DC, they had a kingpin who came home named Rayful Edmond. We were hearing about him all of our childhood and whatnot. He was a very big figure in the underworld. He just died of cancer. The shooter who they alleged shot Tupac in Quad Studio, King Tut, he was another one of those people who you always heard about their names. They were like urban legends and whatnot. He came home and whatnot. He's doing podcasts and things of that nature. And then you have these people coming home. I hope and pray that the political prisoners are able to come home and whatnot, and not just these gangbangers and these rappers and shit like that. I hope that the political prisoners, the Panthers, the Black Guerrilla family, all of those brothers and sisters, the Mumia Abu Jamals of the world, I hope they let those brothers come home as well. The same way that they're opening up the gates and they are commencing the prison sentences of the street legends and whatnot. And I just saw that Biden pardoned the other Flannery, Meech's brother, Southwest T. He got a pardon by Joe Biden. 2024, the year of return. Okay, the people that were buried alive during a bygone era, which ended this year for Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's whole era of locking our people up and that whole crime bill, this is probably what you're seeing with these people coming home and whatnot. You feel me? Getting out of purgatory and whatnot. A lot of the gates are now going to open up because old man Biden is finally out the left side of the door to never be seen again. He's going to ride off into the sunset if Donald Trump and his quote unquote people don't hunt him down, right? If they don't hunt him down and make him pay for some of the fuckery that he was involved with, he's going to go into obscurity. And the shit that represented him, which was our people getting locked down for a very long time, that is Joe Biden's fingerprints. That's his work. That's his spell. That's his juju. That's his paperwork. That's what you see with old man Joe more so than any politician on that dance floor right now. The same person, we did it, Joe. The motherfuckers was giving him all of that credit. He's the guy he's the slave catcher. Okay, he's a slave catcher. So as he goes, then the shit that he represented goes as well. Not to say that Trump won't try to step in and create some type of law and order type of situation with his private prisons. So when we speak about the new aesthetics that is controlling the music right now, especially for the year 2024, right? When I say the music industry, I have to preface 12 to 25, right? Not 12 to 25. So aesthetic nihilism, right? So nihilism has an aesthetic, right? Nihilism is basically that whole idea of life having no meaning. Nihilism is, you know, the shit that the punk rock kids was on, the death metal and stuff like that. Nihilism is gang banging, right? Nihilism is fuck it. It's a crash out. It's baby Kia and whatnot. It's a crash out. That's nihilism. So nihilism has an aesthetic, and the aesthetic of nihilism in 2020 would have been the shiesty mask, right? With the black hoodie, all black everything. Shiesty mask, black hoodie, black jacket, black forces, black jeans with the black blicky. You know what I'm talking about? That's the nihilism aesthetic. Now, fast forward to 2024, the nihilism effect and the nihilism aesthetic has an anti look, an Afro punk and a vampire gothic look, right? So when we talk about anti, it goes back to the conversation that we've had on many occasions that the younger generation are anti what? Anti everything. And they do everything in their powers to distinguish themselves to not look like the generation that precedes them, what they would call the old heads or the unks and the aunties and stuff like that. So they're anti-establishment, they're anti all that shit that you was on, they're anti. Afro punk is an aesthetic that, you know, the Afro punk people have, where they are considered to be the misfits, okay? Not the nerds, the misfits. Yes, the rebellious ones, right? The misfits, the Afro punks, right? Punk rockers, but with an Afro twist, Afro futurism, all of that. The vampire gothic thing is that all black Playboy Cardi, um, you know, whole lot of red type of thing that you see gripping the youth culture, right? Counterculture. But counterculture has now become pop culture. Okay. So what was counterculture has now become pop culture, and the murder rap, the gangbanger rap, like, you know, not to say that none of these people are not gangbanging, because they are, right? But more so the shit that Little Baby, Young Thug, and that part of Atlanta represented, Playboy Cardi, Destroy Lonely, Ken Carson, Trippy Red, uh, my dude, Travis Scott. That's what they represent, right? They the ragers, and they are gothic rap, right? A whole new genre. These are the vultures that we were telling you about when we were talking about vulture culture. These are the vultures, right? These would be considered the vultures because they stand in the shadows of Ye, who, you know, I won't say he makes rager music and whatnot. I won't say that he makes rager music, but he's definitely the father of many of these sounds. And he's the executive, you know, he's behind the scenes. He's the Svengali to a lot of these artists that have adapted this fusion sound. It's a fusion sound, right? It's rage. It's like, you know, crowd surfing. And yeah. Kanye did with Yeezus. Thank you. So his introduction to that sound is through Yeezus, and it got perfected by Travis and a few other people. And here we are, you know what I mean? And this shit is taking, you know, it's taking youth culture by storm. It has taken the youth culture by storm. And the new we talked about this early in the beginning of the year when we were doing the rollout for vulture culture, when we shined a light on Playboy Cardi and the opium movement, and we were like, pay attention to what they're doing and keep your ears to the ground. And here we are towards the end of the year. Do y'all see what I was talking about? Did you see what I was saying about him? And the fact that they were going to crown him as the leader of the youth movement that they got right now. You said, am I happy about that? Once again, I'm giving you the year in review as a reporter. So I'm reporting. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I give up my information. You have the option to react however you want to react. You know what I mean? That's on you. You feel me? I'm gonna give the news and I'm gonna break down where the culture is at as, as we review the year. So yeah, the Rager rap. I just saw Rolling Loud. If anybody tapped into the Rolling Loud, you will see how big this shit was this year and whatnot. Um, they had 3 nights, and the final night was the Rager night. It was the opium night, and yeah, it gave what it was supposed to give. Now, even when it comes to the streamers, right? So the streamers, they the new kids on the block, and these artists and whatnot, they tend to be some of the streamers' favorite artists as well, and they're the new kids on the block. And these artists, along with the streamers, they are white audience approved, right? So when we talk about people performing in front of crowds like 200,000, 300,000, and stuff like that, it's usually those crowds right there for those fans. All right. So they're locked into that world. They got the white kids in a headlock, they got the black kids in a headlock as well. All right. So this is the Rager movement, and they caught the W this year. You feel me? They knocked out the old that street shit that was really dominating. Now, when you talk about mainstream, when you talk about the demographics that are a little older than the 18 or the 12 to the 25s and whatnot, then it begins to expand a little bit more. But this year in music, once again, it wasn't necessarily all of that super ignorant, no trap music and stuff like that. This year gave you a lot of good albums, a lot of classic albums. You feel me? And yeah, and here we have it. My good brother Tyler the Creator, that Chromatopia, that was fire. That was a fire album, very artistic, musically, sonically, fire. Lupe Fiasco, he put out a banger. You know what I'm talking about? He put a banger out. Politically, me and him may not see eye to eye on a few things, but there's no denying his artistry. Denzel Curry put out a fire project, wonderful project. Doechii, wonderful project. Gunna, wonderful project. Cardi, The Rollout, fire. J. Cole, wonderful project. And his whole nostalgia thing was dope as well. And of course, Ye, he started the year with the Vultures Volume 1. I didn't listen to Volume 2 like that, but I like the fact that he caught a W in the beginning of the year where he was able to go #1 independently. He was able to uncancel himself because they were saying that because after he said that stuff about the Yahoodis and whatnot, that he was canceled. And he proved that he went #1. So he destroyed that narrative. Then it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. He went to China and broke records. He went to China and broke records. You feel me? You know what I mean? He went to China and he put up some numbers and whatnot. So he got his bread up. He did some real cultural iconic shit in China. And yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. So shout out to Ye for that year. And of course, Kendrick, what he did this year was unprecedented. He brought the culture back into a direction that it was currently that it needed to be in. That's all I would say. It needed to be in that direction. And he was able to completely shift the culture into that direction, right? By stepping up and taking on an opponent who many people feared because of his size or his perceived power and whatnot, they were intimidated about going after said opponent. And he basically took up the fight and he was able to get a W, a profound W. And then he went after others in the industry, not just Drake and whatnot. He said, F the whole industry. He folded the whole label. Come on, he got Lil Wayne looking stupid. And let's not forget that the Nicki Minaj was the first one to caught the L on that label. She caught the L, Drake caught the L, and Lil Wayne caught the L. Damn, I think they may. I put QC as the loser label of the year. I think they may come. It might be a tie. It might be a tie because Nicki Minaj caught the L with the dish. Remember, she did a diss track against Megan Thee Stallion in the top of the year, and it was a forgettable diss track because nobody ever talked about it again. That's how bad it was. You feel me? That's how bad it was. You feel me? She dissed Megan Thee Stallion and the shit was so horrible, niggas forgot about it. But she took a L with that diss. And then after that, Drake caught the L. And then after that, Lil Wayne caught the L. Because Lil Wayne caught the L, first of all, he's acting like he didn't even hear Whacked Out Murals. That right there is a fucking lie. You know you listen to that. One. Then he had to apologize. He said, "Oh yeah, I spoke to Kendrick, and he better kill that." I thought you was in the studio recording a response. What happened? You had academics lying on you and whatnot. So at the end of the day, yeah, them niggas took an L, a horrible L, and he got the nigga from Zopound talking about how he robbed them years ago, got him looking real crazy and whatnot, and he turned into a crybaby over the Super Bowl thing. He didn't take that one standing up. He did not take that shit standing up. So he's out here looking, your goat is looking curried right now. Your goat is looking curried. You know what I mean? And one of the great things about this year, we saw an unprecedented resurgence of golden era legacy artists. Ghostface Killer, Common, LL Cool J, Ice Cube, Snoop Doggy Dogg, MC Lights, Eminem. You feel me? In the 50th/51st year of hip hop, there was a resurgence of golden era artists. Redman as well. I'm going to put him up there. Okay? And these albums did not sound like ChatGPT made them. And these albums did not sound forced. These albums were slapping. You feel me? These albums were slapping. So I give a big shout out to all of my OG rappers who was like, we not letting these little young whippersnappers intimidate us. So in a year where an artist of the caliber of a Kendrick Lamar is going after Drake and they fighting for the culture, this was a culture war. The OGs came through and stepped up, like in the Avengers when they be having when the backup came, when they was getting their ass whooped, and the backup just popped up, and it was all of the other people and whatnot. That's what these rappers are representing. You feel me? Throwing all of these projects and seeing which one is gonna stick and whatnot. I hope that a classic came out of some of these things, some of these projects. You know, these are OGs. Just give us one classic song out of the whole project. Did we get one classic out of the Snoop shit? One? Did we get one classic out of that Rock Him album that came out? Just one. We just need one single. You know? Just one. Not one. God damn. Yikes. And the OGs showed their hands. None of them supported Kendrick. Nope. They did not frontline for Kendrick at all. And that was sad. That was sad. They did not frontline for Kendrick, yo. They let that shit happen. It's almost like when you in the schoolyard fighting the big bully and whatnot, and the OGs, instead of saying, yo, clear that shit up, move out of the way, we got you, son. They just looked over to see who was gonna win. And even when he won, they wasn't really there for him. So, you know, they were being pressed this whole time during the reign of Drake. They were getting pushed out, pressed and whatnot. They couldn't have came out like this during the Drake era. The fuck? They couldn't have came out like this in the Drake era. And yes, Nas was the one who set all of this up with the King series. He's the one that blew the horn and let the OGs know you could still eat. You could still eat. It's still food on the table. There is no limit to this shit. Yeah, I don't know what 50 Cent is doing. I don't know what the hell 50 Cent is out here doing. He looking real coonish though. I'll tell you that much. We gonna sit his ass down with Fat Joe somewhere. You know what I'm talking about? Him and Fat Joe need to go on tour together. Them niggas is they moving wacky at the same time. So the OGs is spitting. Salute to them. And then we had classic releases. You know what I'm saying? We had classic releases this year. JPEG Mafia, Larry June. We had a whole bunch of releases this year. Even Red and Blue, right? The drill culture. Okay? The drill culture, they had a grip on, yes, Danny Brown as well. There's a few. If I didn't mention any of them, it's not on purpose. Believe you me, they'll be covered in the presentation. Like I said, I'm breezing through these slides right now, but this is not the presentation. This is just the preliminaries. Okay, this is the preliminaries leading up to what we'll be doing on the 30th. So the drill culture, right? Once again, when I speak of the drill culture, ladies and gentlemen, I am speaking about a subgenre of hip hop / rap where our youth are literally dying. Okay. There's 4 videos. Okay. 4 videos that I have on YouTube, a part 1 all the way to part 4. That is how many rappers died in 2024. For Richmond, Virginia. Richmond, Virginia. I had no effing idea y'all was having that many quote unquote rappers being unalived in your city. That came to a very shocking surprise that Richmond, Virginia was so active when it came to these youth killing one another in this drill shit, right? The numbers are outrageous. I shit you not. When it comes to the amount of rappers that were unalived in 2024, a large percentage of them would be considered independent, right? Meaning that they're not major label artists. These are independent artists, nonetheless. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there are a lot of them falling underneath the quote unquote falling to the sword and whatnot. There are a lot of them falling to the sword, right? So we could see that what they call drill rap is still a perpetual killing machine, right? And we're not talking about regular rap. We're not talking about street rap. We ain't talking about trap rap. We're speaking about drill rap specifically. It is a subgenre and it's dealing with death, murder, kill, kill, even more so than those murder anthems. This is really this is the underbelly of all underbellies of the culture that has to quote unquote subside. Okay? It has to subside, right? So, three major drill rappers that died in 2024 is indicative of the fact that this was the year that drill rap died. Now, drill rap is not going to magically go away. It's not going to magically disappear. But as with anything that is dying, it is going to falter from this point on. It is going to fall from this point on. It is going to subside from this day on. Okay? Because things go up and they come down. And I'm highlighting some of the major instances in our culture where those rockets began to descend. Right? So YBC Duel in Philly was a major blow to the drill scene. He was the one that they were at war with for a very long time. They had a lot of enemies. He was called Mr. Disrespectful. He's in a video digging up one of his dead ops' grave. Right? He got killed by a 16-year-old, and that ended a long reign of terror that this young man was casting over West Philly and all of Philadelphia. Not to take away from the fact that there are other drill rappers out there and there's still wars taking place. But I've been doing this for a very long time, and I know how significant certain type of removal of energies are, right? It starts a downward spiral and things begin to subside. So this was very shocking for that city, but hopefully this is going to turn the tides of the what they call the bloodshed. Little Jeff, Bloodhound Jeff in Chicago, another one, right? A terror, okay? Somebody who was at war with a lot of other young men in their neighborhoods and whatnot. He got taken out, okay? And he was one of those. He was seen as the next up and coming one out of that drill scene in Chicago, which also had a plethora of bodies this year, a whole lot. And then out of Duval, out of Jacksonville, Florida, you had Julio Fulio, right? Who met his untimely demise the weekend of his birthday. And he as well was tied into a very long war that was taking and claiming a lot of lives, both innocent, right, in the Jacksonville area, right? So these were major blows to drill culture, all right, this year. And I just wanted to point that out, okay? This culture is going, if y'all don't chill in the chat room, I'm gonna take the role of the moderator and put everybody, not everybody, but anybody in there on timeout that may be disrupting the order of things. So here we have our drill rappers and whatnot who lost their lives this year to senseless violence and whatnot. Okay. But as you can tell, when it comes to the drill culture, these are we're just witnessing youth at war, right? Like these are child soldiers and they're at war and they have what do they have? They have the attention of millions upon millions of children who are rooting this thing on, cheering it on. You know what I mean? Beating on the drums. So somebody said, "Who are these niggas?" Um, this is the YouTube nigga kingdom. Okay? This is the YouTube nigga kingdom. There's a segment in a corner of YouTube that exists, a very toxic compilation of content creators. Okay? There's a corner of YouTube that's tracking and trapping millions and millions of people around the world, right? Around the world because they're watching this as entertainment. This is some of the lowest rungs of our culture. This is the lower hanging fruit of YouTube. This is the lowest hanging fruit of hip hop. This is where the culture vultures are eating the carcasses of our culture, and we call it the YouTube nigga kingdom. Okay. So 20 versus 1, right? 20 versus 1. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't watch 20 versus 1 because the shit is entertaining. It's buffoonery. And yes, I do watch it. Out of all of the dating shows that are on YouTube that took over for 2024, that proliferated the YouTube, some of the most ratchet and toxic of them were the 20v1 spinoffs. I like the balloon popping, even though that shit could get ignorant. But the sister who is the host, she is an expert when it comes to drawing proper lines in the sand, if that's a better way to explain it. Okay. She knows how to keep it from going super duper ratchet. So that whole dating thing, because remember, this started from Smash and Pass years ago. You know, this whole segment of um like lustful YouTube, horny YouTube, you know, all of that type of shit, thought YouTube, it's just getting out of hand. You know, it's just hypersexualized YouTube. It's just kind of getting out of hand. It's like they're doing the most ignorant shit possible on some of these 20v1s. And then when I saw the 20v1 with little RT, which is that little badass kid that you see on the flyer right here, the only little kid that you see on the thing, yeah, they had him on a 20v1 with little ratchet kid, with little girls that was ratchet as him. They were all of them was ratchet, and they were doing a dating show, and I think he's 9 years old. So they were exploiting the youth and the ignorance of the youth. So of course you got Whack 100 and academics. When them two come together, sassy aggressiveness, chatty patty, and just a bunch of he say, she say fuckery. Terrence Killer Williams, YSL Woody, Charleston White, all trolls. You know what I mean? You know, just a bunch of you know what I mean? No Neck J, you know what I mean? All of this is like I say, the YouTube nigga kingdom. If the dude Custard, if he was out, I would have him on the thing too, but he locked up. Trap Law Ross, DJ Vlad, Adam 22. They attempt to go under the title of journalism, and they are not. Yeah, Crip Mac. If Crip Mac wasn't locked up, he would be on this shit too. Um, would you say Drewski? I would put Drewski with the streamers. I will put Drewski with the streamers. You know? Many of these YouTubers are celebs and other characters getting followers and popular. People aren't paying attention. They no. Remember, attention economy, right? Attention economy. That's the new economy that we're in. So making a spectacle of yourself in order to gain viewership is seen as the W, right? So we live in an area where you could be the prankster or what they call the court jester. If you read the book 48 Laws of Power, they talk about the court jester. And that's the era that we're living in right now, where the court jester is going to be lit. You could become a multi-millionaire from being a court jester, right? Remember my nigga, what was homie name? They used to kick over the vendors and whatnot. Boont Gang. Remember, it started with Boont Gang, right? Boont Gang was the ultimate hood prankster and whatnot. And it has devolved into where we are right now. Okay. Because remember, they used to have black love channels. They used to have black couple channels. They used to have channels where people were in relationships and they were talking about their families and whatnot. Do you remember those days? And then that shit turned into passport bro channels. And I'm a polygamous channel and shit like that. You feel me? Like it's turned, and then it turned into, you know, how many shorties can I cut? How many shorties can I knock down? Let me check out. I'm gonna riz some grandmothers at Walmart. Like that's where it's turning into. So these European men who all seem to look like they're gooish, they try to pass for journalism while they're not. What they are, they're not even, they are true crime content creators who do investigative journalism, if that means anything. So Adam 22 and Vlad and Trap Law, they have to do an investigation in order to get to extract the type of information that they have when they have a guest and they're asking these guests in the form of an interrogation certain questions, and the guests will be like, damn, how did you know that? That's why they give them those type of answers, because they're under the assumption, well, shit, if Vlad TV is asking me a question about this thing, I'm under the impression that he already knows the answer. So I'm gonna volunteer information and just tell this nigga my business. There's a few what's to do? Capone. There's a few other channels that belong with these two, but this is the big three in a sense. Now, Trap Law, I kind of like his skill. I like his production and everything, but they're all literally romanticizing black dysfunction at the end of the day. That's all they're doing. Not only they're romanticizing, they're monetizing it, and they're making buku dollars off of cataloging the quote unquote dregs of our society and taking that dysfunction and putting it in a light to whereas it is being celebrated, right? They're not chastising it, they're not quote unquote critiquing it, right? They're pedestaling it. And then when it catches a RICO, or when it gets, you know what I mean, when that person gets either locked up or killed and whatnot, then they're like, damn, yo, this person should have known better. Damn, yo, what was that person thinking? Damn, yo, they're stupid. Meanwhile, these content creators are aiding and abiding and assisting said rapper gangbanger / killer on the run. They're helping them, they're helping to pedestal them and give them a global audience. That's what they're doing. You feel me? That's what they're doing. And all of them work for secret intelligence or some type of intelligence agencies. All of them are plugged into law enforcement. all of them are probably Mossad and whatnot. So this is this nigga kingdom. And the protests, Adam 22 is a porn star, by the way. Okay. He's a corn star. So he fetishes over black men and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? He's a what they call a cuckold. He sits there while other men have their way with his woman. It's the same thing that they put P. Diddy in jail for when he was with Cassie. So that's the psychology of these men who are running YouTube and running the internet and running huge segments in our culture. One of the biggest trolls out of that bunch right there is DJ Academics, who is a Jamaican American, first generation. I think his name is Livingston. You know what I mean? Straight fuck boy. I mean, no other way around it. No way to cut it. A straight fuck boy. Everybody probably knows somebody like this nigga. He's a major troll, right? He took a major L this year. Today, this is his losing year. 2024 was the year that Academics lost. He is a super fan of Aubrey Graham, okay? And he's a super fan. He's a stan of Aubrey Graham. And when Drake's when his ship got sunk, DJ Academics was on it. You know what I mean? And he continues to go down with him fighting and whatnot, putting out a lot of propaganda, lies and whatnot. But he's also recognized for his level of trolling and enemies that he's able to, quote unquote, build up in the industry, and what appears to be as if he's been able to shit on these people. Now, in some places on Discord and some quote unquote rooms and whatnot, people may even say that young DJ Academics may be working with some type of voodoo, because it seems that people who he's decided to put his gaze upon and curse, they've succumbed to certain bad fortune the minute that he quote unquote puts his bad mind, or what they call his juju, on them, right? He's been able to tank the careers of multiple of these artists just by speaking bad on them, right? So him and Meek Mills have a very long history of going at it after, through tweets and things of that nature. And as we see, Meek Mill's career, based off of when he started beefing with DJ Academics, when he had a certain type of allure in the culture, and he was seen as a certain type of quote unquote street dude, that is not where he is anymore. His name has been smeared. His reputation has been smeared. Little Baby, when he started beefing with DJ Academics, he was at a certain heights in his career. And then that all came crashing down the day that this picture that we're looking at right here came out, where he got sandwiched between two white dudes, Mike Rubin and the nigga with blue hair and whatnot. And his gangster persona and the allure that he had completely evaporated and went away. And, he becomes Little Baby. Young Miami, right? She was on his hit list, and he was bad mouthing her, bad minding her, talking down on her. And of course, she crashed in spectacular fashion with her sugar daddy going to the feds and whatnot. And we haven't seen Carisha since. And then her gay friend, Saucy Santana, he had a quote unquote him and DJ Academics went after one another because, of course, I guess he was sticking up for Carisha, and then they bumped heads. Pause. So the trolling of DJ Academics is legendary. And this year, all of that shit kind of came back, because this was the year that he took his L. This was the year where he got locked up for a PDF. Oh, no, he got locked up for an essay, essay case. His jacket is dirty and whatnot. And if he ever goes to jail, Oh my goodness. It's gonna be sad for that boy. It's going to be I don't think that he would even allow it. I don't even think that he would even allow it. You know what I mean? Because that's somewhere that he will have a very hard time getting through a bid if he ever went to jail, because he writes a lot of checks that his ass cannot cash. Pause. So QC, the record label, is going down on my year in review as the label that took the worst label this year. They caught the L. You know what I mean? Hold that. QC as a label is in decline. QC as a label was once one of the dominant labels in all of hip hop, not just in Atlanta. It was the premier Atlanta label, of course, with the likes of his marquee artist, Little Baby. They also had the City Girls and the Migos. Fast forward to 2024, it is no more. Okay. It is a shell of its former self. The label was sold for 30 million. A group from a Korean investment group, along with Scooter Braun, purchased the record label, and the shit has been downfall ever since. Okay. My nigga Meat was Quavo can't get a hit. You can't even buy him a hit. Little Baby can't get a hit. Gloss Up can't get a hit. Young Miami can't get a hit. It's over with. You know what I'm talking about? This label, along with the appeal that Atlanta had on hip hop this year, it's over with. We saw that come to an end. That's what 2024 represents. The end of a paradigm, the ending of an era. Okay, the changing of the guards. Okay, never to be changed again. Not to say that it won't come back to Atlanta, of course not. Not to say that it won't, but it will never be the same again. That era is over with. Things change, like seasons and whatnot. Yeah, Quavo, he's doing auto-tune country music. Nigga, hang it up. You know what I'm talking about? Your sun has set, my genius. This year, 2024, was the year of the trolls. It got so bad, though, that they got to take this L, my nigga. The trolls get the L of the year, even though they would think that they were winning and whatnot. However, they may have won. I had to contemplate this for a few days. I had to sit with this. They may have won. And in some people's eyes, they did win this year. But I would say oversaturation, bro. The people turned on them. They went from fucking with them to where they was like, we ain't fucking with them. It's too much. I know people who was rocking with Jaguar Wright, but then she just said that she was everywhere and she seen everything and she knew everything. And at one point, people were like, you know what? I'm not fucking with her. I don't trust nothing that she says anymore. She lost her credibility. DJ Academics, we just covered his trolling. Orlando Brown, come on, fam. Come on, fam. I mean, one or two shows was funny and whatnot, but I'm not going to find myself sitting back laughing at somebody with a clear mental problem. Them people fucked them up in Hollywood. They dragged his ass and did something real sinister to that boy. You feel me? He's all over the place. So the Charleston Whites, all of this toxic energy of these people who are completely hurt human beings, and they decide that they want to be hurtful human beings, and they want to decide that they want to see the quote unquote the pain in others. Like when Jaguar Wright explained that she was a dominatrix, that's the day that it all made sense. That's the day that it all made sense. You feel me? That's the day that it all made sense. I was like, I get it. You know what I'm talking about? I get it. This is some real dominatrix type shit. This is some real quote unquote, you just want to see people go through that pain that you've been going through. It made a lot of sense. So Charleston White, the type of pain that he got one eye, my nigga. He been through a lot. When he explained why he became a troll from being a community leader, and then he decided to turn into a troll so he could, quote unquote, create shock value content, say things about people's children, about their dead parents and stuff like that, do all of the stupid shit and all of the toxic things just to get $1 because he found out that YouTube was paying. That's some sad shit, bro. That's some sad shit. And the sad part about it is that he'll hook you in with a lot of truth. He'll hook you in by being very bold and brave, by going against the nigga hierarchy and whatnot, by having the audacity to speak down on it. But the antics, the toxicity and the antics, that's the shit that makes you say, look, we you find yourself rooting for the villain. You find yourself rooting for the villain. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like, come on, man. This ain't it. This not how you get your point across. This not how you deliver the information, right? And 2024 showed us that what people identified as the game, what they stood on, shit that people died for, went to jail about, it's a crock of shit because we now live in a new era where snitches get riches because of YouTube, because of the thirst of the podcasters, because of the ease of podcasting, because the fact that salaciousness is going to sell, because we live in the attention economy and it's all about retention and attention. So if I could put a snitch on a couch and that's going to have somebody watch a 2-hour video and watch all 2 hours of it, that means that I'll get paid a lot of money by YouTube or whatever platform that I'm on that's monetized. Niggas is like, let's do it. Let's do it. So that's what you find yourself with, right? Snitches get riches. I got YSL Woody in that picture, but he's such a snitch that when I downloaded the damn file, that nigga was gone. In the final result, he disappeared. He's so goddamn slippery. He got away when I exported the picture. But yeah, snitches get riches. So Charleston White was the one. Charleston White is the harbinger to the snitches. He is, I don't know if he's definitely seen as the snitch, but he did say that he will become a snitch. And he's the one he's the troll. He was able to troll and to break the quote unquote spell to a degree where he made it okay to snitch. That's what Charleston White did. He stood on that shit for months upon months upon months and spoke to the ignorance of the mind state that a lot of people in this culture was moving with, and he broke that spell. And then when other people came along and tried it, like Gunna, like YSL Woody, right? And that shit began to work, then people was like, oh, okay, it is what it is. But of course, Tekashi 6ix9ine is the protagonist of this whole snitches get riches type thing. But it was reinforced by Charleston White, who was able to speak into, he was giving thought pieces on that shit. He was giving thought pieces on it. He was giving like dissertations about why people should snitch and why the game should not be respected and why, quote unquote, all of that shit was false. Like he really became Wreck-It Ralph to the industry. And I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Charleston White is a martyr. Okay. Charleston White is a martyr. Charleston White knows that he could go any day. Okay. Based upon the shit that he be saying and the people that he say it about, he knows that he could go any day. That's how crazy it is right now. Somebody could run up on him on any given Sunday and send his ass up just for the fact that they might be clout chasing or he says something personal about them or whatever. But he's put himself in that kind of crosshairs to where people may want to hurt him because of what he says. And if that were to ever happen, right, then he becomes a martyr. everything that he stood for and all of that shit that he's put out there on the internet, it doesn't diminish. It becomes stronger because he died for it. Okay? The fact that he had to shed blood for it is only going to make it stronger. Right? Did I see when somebody beat his ass on stage? Yeah, I seen all of that. I seen every single assault on that man. I pay attention. But it only makes him bigger. He already planted the seed deep enough in the ground to whereas the only thing that you could do to him is either completely discredit his name or kill him. And if you do that, you're only going to make him bigger, right? So the trolling in this case right here reached a level that I probably have never seen before in a takedown of a celebrity, right? This was crazy, bro. The level of clout chasing, the level of people coming out to put a knife in Diddy's back, the level of channels that popped up with the exposés and Diddy do it type of titles and whatnot, the amount of chatter that this case has garnered, and it's not over, it's going to spill all the way into the trial in May and whatnot. The type of attention that this case was able to garner was unprecedented. Okay? Was unprecedented. So the Diddy thing is a very, very, very intricate, you feel me? Very, very important case for 2024. When we pointed out Drake had an era, and that era came to a close in his defeat to Kendrick Lamar, and Drake represented not just an era, but like an epoch. He represented a sound. He represented an aesthetic. He represented a lot of things. And him falling brought all of that shit down with him, right? Henceforth, while you see him going after Spotify, he's going after Universal. He's on his, I'm bringing all of these niggas down. I'm not going down. I'm so big. I'm too big to fail. I'm so big that if I fall, right? Picture like a statue. You know, when they took over Syria and they toppled the statue. So picture a statue being toppled and whatnot, a 100-foot statue being toppled, right? Picture that. And that's what you see when you see this shit with whatchamacallit, with Diddy falling, and that's what you see with Drake falling. These are like 100-foot statues being toppled in the fucking town square. So if you are familiar with Columbus Circle, right? Take Christopher Columbus statue and replace it with P. Diddy statue, bronzed up and all of that in front of the Trump Tower. Now topple it. And not only topple it, drag that shit through Broadway all the way down to the bridge and then put it in the water to Hudson, right? That is symbolic to what is being done to P. Diddy, who ran the city for 30 years, mind you, right? P. Diddy runs the city. So the same way that you could hear Drake runs the industry and you could fathom what that means, well, I'm saying P. Diddy runs the city. And the city is where hip hop was matured. And then it was shipped out around the world and it was packaged in the city. The city is Manhattan. Manhattan keeps on making it. When P. Diddy And some of these quote unquote execs, the Clive Davises, and in conjunction with the, Jimmy Iovine's and the Leor Cohens and whatnot, they commodified the business of hip hop from $1 million business to a multi-million dollar to $1 billion business. And all of that was done in the city. I was murder. P. Diddy made me pretty. I did it for the money. Now, can you get with me? So P. Diddy ran the city. What that means is P. Diddy was the one who he was the one who helped infuse all of these millions of dollars into hip hop, which made it explode as a multi-million dollar quote unquote business, right? A business that comes with brands, it comes with branding, it comes with public relations, it comes with PR. All of that was done at the behest of the bad boy era. You understand? That's under Puff. So everything that gets built out from that foundation is what stands on it. So all of this shit where these labels are making millions of dollars and niggas is talking about getting rich, all of that it didn't come before Puffy. Even though you had labels on the West Coast and you had labels, in the South, and you had labels in the Midwest, they wasn't grabbing millions upon millions of dollars. They did not have market share. They were not on commercials. They were not in the quote unquote pop culture, for better or worse, right? There's some people that would just say, well, God damn it, hip hop didn't even need to be in that light. And then there's some people that would say, well, careers were started, millions were made. People got the opportunity to shine when they put it in that light. P. Diddy did that. For better or worse. For better or worse, as a crooked businessman who they say ran a criminal empire, right? They hit him with a RICO. Well, that man, bar none, more than any other personality that is alive or may transition in the music industry, the shit that you see today is his work. Okay? I don't give a fuck where you live. The shit that you see persisting today, that's all his work. And even that whole aspect of the overindulgence and the spirits and the liquor and whatnot, you feel me? Like the rappers with clothing brands. I mean, you name it. You name it. He had his hands in a lot of shit. He was running things for 30 fucking years. And in 2024 was the year that all came crashing down. Whether not guilty, he could be as innocent as a fucking dove. It don't matter. He'll have to find that out on episode 2025, nigga. You're not going to find it out in 2024. What 2024 represents is the year that you fell. It's the year that your reign at the top came to an end. It's the year that all of that shit came to a crashing halt. You feel me? That's the year that will go down in history that Cassie took you down. That your affinity to baby oil was exposed. Your affinity to being a voyeur and whatnot was exposed. Prior to that, it was just a rumor and it was never on the record. This was the year where his proclivities got put on the record by a legal document. You see how powerful a legal document is? Shout out to my Moors that were trying to explain things to the people for years about legal documents and the precedents that they hold. His whole shit got unraveled by a legal document from a lawsuit. Facts. Because literally, there's nothing in the indictment that we didn't already know. They're not revealing anything. Everything that was put out on P. Diddy was kind of put out already through podcasts and legal documents. And even the thing that the being said on the podcast, none of that is really standing anywhere. It doesn't have any legs. The legs that all of this shit stand on has to stand on legal legs. So it has to be a part of a legal document. That's the shit that holds precedence. Legal documents, not guilty or you guilty, right? Legal decisions, right? All of that is what holds precedent in this world that we're in. Because you being not guilty or guilty changes the trajectory of your legacy, of your life. Make you or break you. You know what I mean? Yeah, a $30 million legal document, right? Innocent until proven guilty, but you know his sexual proclivities. That's why so many people are talking greasy about him, because now they feel like that they know him and they almost belittle him to where, like, nigga, get beneath me. I never paid to watch a nigga pipe my girl. You a little nigga. You feel me? Now you got people talking greasy to him and they don't see him in the same light because his sexual proclivities, right, was revealed. Okay? It was exposed. Oh, he was paying male prostitutes to fornicate with his lady? Fam, where they do that at? You doing, wait, what? You paying niggas to pipe your whiz, nigga? Like, what are you on? What type of time are you on? We not on that time. You know what I'm talking about? We not on that type of time. Like, we don't do no weird shit like that. The minute you hear some shit like that, you think pink people. You feel me? That's not a melanated practice. That's not a melanated sport, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they all swingers. Niggas is not, I mean, they swinging in the hood now. They in the jungle swinging now. Because, you know, they in the hood swinging, they in the jungle swinging now, but we wasn't swinging like that years ago. Pause. Niggas wasn't swinging like that. Where I'm from, I don't know about where. I don't know. Maybe it was the biggest secret, but that wasn't the play. So everybody was getting exposed for their proclivities in 2024. You know what I mean? Everybody was getting exposed for their proclivities, for the way that they conduct themselves when no one is looking, right? And this is a profound, I mean, the reverberations of Puff falling, it won't be felt for years. It won't be felt for years, man. I promise you. And once again, when I saw the documentary on Shine this year, a few weeks ago, it really shined a light on the fact that this nigga already was fighting for his life. It was just so long ago that we forgot, but he got away with murder when he got acquitted of that case and whatnot for shooting that woman. He been got away with murder. So literally 2024, is it just Sean Combs, or did y'all see people's karma catch up to them this year that's in the audience? Was it just Sean Combs? Could we just single out P. Diddy? Or did y'all see a lot of people's karma, right, pulling up on their asses in 2024, tapping them like, yo, I'm here now? Because I did. You know what I mean? This was a year that a lot of shit came back to people, bro. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. You dig? So yeah, he's laid up in the feds. Some unprecedented shit, right? Because when the fuck you that wasn't on my bingo card. P. Diddy in the feds with no bail? What the hell? Take that, take that. So that whole era, if that era is ending, right? Then what era is beginning? Don't be, that's why I'm not confused when I see the youth picking up gothic culture and they're going darker and deeper and whatnot. Because this is a dark ass fucking culture. This is a dark world that we're in. They're exposed to death in ways that we're not. At a young age, they're exposed to real death culture. We still acting fake surprised that P. Diddy was out here, graping women and doing weirdo shit. We still act, I'm surprised that you're surprised. Let us continue. So once again, for the music, there was a resurgence this year, right? The Independent, I'm going to show the graphs and whatnot in the lecture. I'll be able to show the graphs. I'll be able to show the numbers, the receipts that independent music had an increase in sales this year. They are becoming contenders against the majors. They made a big percentage, a humongous amount of market share was handed over to independent labels this year. There is a resurgence. There is a resurgence in hip hop right now of quote unquote artistry. There is a resurgence of direct to customer artists that are saying F the label. We not rocking with no majors. They don't want majors anymore. You got a resurgence of artists that own their publishing. They own their masters. They own their quote unquote image and likeness and whatnot. They're becoming more independent, right? And they are reaping certain rewards and whatnot. This artist right here that you see, Mac Hami, with his hand over his eye with the Haitian flag on his face, he sold vinyl, an album. He was selling his vinyl for $999. Why? Because he is an artist and he has a following that will pay that amount of money for his art. It doesn't matter if you have a following that you built up and they see that you are worth it, then they spend it on you. Then that is fair exchange, no robbery. That is what art is. So you have artists up here. Let me name them so we could have these are the independent artists that took 2024 by storm and put up a lot of points on the board and whatnot, and have restored a lot of faith in those who said that hip hop was dead, because we know that it's not. We know it's thriving and it's alive. Shout out to all of the artists out there doing their thing. Keep doing it and whatnot. My suggestion would be vinyl, of course, vinyl. And if you can, put that bitch on a cassette. You feel me? But definitely vinyls and CDs are not dead. So from the right, starting from the right on the top, that's Denzel Curry. Then going down, that's Conway the Machine. Then going down, we have Stove God. Then I was gonna put Boldy in there. He's on another list of mine. I do have Boldy. I did acknowledge him. We have Ka, who made his transition this year, right? That's the brother with his eyes closed. That's Ka. Then we have La Russell next to him. And then next to him, we have Stove Guard. That's all the way to your furthest bottom, the bottom left, or the bottom right on your side, depending on how you're looking at it. Then we have Rock Marciano, right there in the second row next to Conway the Machine. We got Rock Marciano. Shout out to Rock. And then next to him, we have Mak Hami. I mean, shout out to Ka. We got Mak Hami. That's Mak Hami sitting on the chair. And then right there next to him with the Yankee hat, that's 38 Special. Shout out to 38 Special and his movement. Then to his other side, you got West Side Gun. And West Side Gun is accredited. He's accredited for being the one who brought the Renaissance and rap back. All right. He's the one who's going to be accredited with helping to bring the Renaissance. Him, Rock Marciano, and there's a few other players and whatnot, but they are getting their accolades. They're getting their quote unquote, they're going to be the mainstream in a few years, and that'll leave room for the other underground people to come through. But yes, West Side Gun is seen as a curator of the culture. He helped to push this whole new wave with merch, streetwear meets high designer and whatnot, and that incorporates into the merch. All right. There's a certain sound that he was able to master. When you see West Side Gun, just think A.A. Rashid, because A.A. Rashid is he's part of the creative collective that is behind the brother West Side Gun. Now, West Side Gun, his label Griselda, that has Benny the Butcher, Boldy James, Stove God, Rome Streets, Conway the Machine. These are the artists that were signed before. Some of them went to majors, and some of them are no longer on the label. But at the heights of Griselda, as a creative director, West Side Gun is seen as legendary. He's gonna go down in history for the way that he was able to turn that label into the success that it is, right? And they're following certain blueprints, and they laid out certain blueprints that men like La Russell from the West Coast have picked up, and he's basically picked up Nipsey's blueprint, basically paying. I call it pay like you weigh, and they call it pay something, pay as you know what I'm talking about. That's what La Russell is doing. Yeah, Rock is pushing the art gallery. He's getting backed by that dude, Thomas something. But yeah, shout out to them. That's just a little brief walkthrough. Yeah, proud to pay. Proud to pay. So that's just a real brief walkthrough to this year in review. I just wanted to flesh some things out. Tomorrow's show, inshallah, we will continue that conversation, and we'll continue to flesh things out. We'll go through more slides, and we'll go over more things and whatnot. But yeah, let me go to a word of our sponsors real quick, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So on December the 30th, which is on a Monday, on December the 30th, from the hours of 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., me and Ross Ben, we will be doing Know the Ledge Media 2024 year in review, the 2024 year in review. And my good brother Ross Ben will be doing his segment, which will be entitled The Divine Nine. All right. He's going to be doing this right here. Step into the goal. Visualize the 9-year. That will be Ross Ben's segment. Visualize the 9-year. And as you do know, the good brother is able to give us a wonderful forecast every year. This is what we do annually. He's able to give us the forecast into the next year. He helped to predict C-19. He predicted Trump as president. He predicted a lot of things. And this year will be no different. So we're bringing him in with the crystal ball so he could line it up. We have a bundle available for the family, and we also have early bird tickets. Make sure that you get your tickets for this event because the price will be going up the day of Christmas. We will be raising the price up. So make sure you get your early bird ticket for this event. And then on New Year's Eve, we have a celebration. All right. We're going to have a celebration on New Year's Eve with my good brother, me, Blue Pillar. All right. And the rest of the team. We are going to have our grand opening, and we're also going to be having a New Year celebration. These are two events happening in one day. The grand opening, which is a soft opening, it will be available for the public, meaning that it will be open door for the public from 2 p.m. to what time? From 2 p.m. from 3 p.m. to 7, I believe, from 3 p.m. to 7. And then after that, we have from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. We're going to be shaking a leg. All right. We are going to be partying and we're going to be enjoying life and we're going to be celebrating life. That is at 488 Edgewood Avenue in Atlanta. All right. If you are in the A, pull up. If you're not in the A, pull up. You know what I'm talking about? You feel me? Like, yeah, be there. Let me go ahead and play this commercial real quick.
Live and direct. Yes. Peace, family. Peace to you and yours, Brother Red Pill reporting live and direct. Yes. I'm in the building with my twin Blue Pillar. And we want to say first and foremost, thank you for all of the positive feedback and reinforcements that we've been receiving ever since we made the announcement about opening up the doors to 488 Edgewood, all right, the bookstore gallery. We will be serving as a multi-purpose studio. We look forward to seeing y'all in the building for our soft launch Tuesday, December the 31st. For the hours of 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., it is open to the public. And then from the hours of 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., we will be having a private event, a ticketed event for anybody that wants to pull up and celebrate the end of 2024 fiscal year. We will have food. We're going to have music. We're going to have 420. We're going to be networking. We're going to be celebrating life. You dig? And we will also have multiple vendors in the building. So if that's something that you want to do, make sure that you RSVP for this event. Limited seating only. Limited seating only. So if you comment below, we will send you a link and you know what to do after that. And we will see you on Tuesday, December the 31st. All right, at 488 Edgewood. Peace, family. Peace.
Yes, indeed. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to seeing y'all. If you are outside, if you decide that you pull up, we look forward to seeing you in the building. You dig? And if you can't make it, we look forward to seeing you in the virtual world with Ross Ben, because that's still a celebration and whatnot. How we wrap this year up. A lot of it's just gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be dope. You know what I mean? We've been cooking in the lab and we got some monumental things that we're gonna be giving y'all. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to everybody in the building for pulling up tonight. Thank you for your support, the super chats. Salute to all of y'all. For the family, hit us up on buymeacoffee.knowtheledger444.knowtheledger444. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about? We'll see you very, very soon. Melanin Mondays tomorrow. See you soon. Peace.
Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Facts. Red, blue, purple light, friends. Red and blue, purple. like friends. Facts, you can get to know the ledger. Sacriligous, Sunday to Melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger. My love, just open your third eye on Thursday. All the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road. You better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I open my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we're stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah, we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts, we in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.